Hello, and welcome to the Building Business Podcast, powered by the Mount Pleasant Chamber of Commerce. We are here today in the Charleston Media Solutions studios. Thank you guys for being such amazing supporters of the Chamber. And of course, a huge shout out to our podcast sponsor, Viking Mergers and Acquisitions.
Oh, the crowd goes wild.
Yes, it does goes wild.
And
I'm going to do my promo line because I do it all the time.
You're good.
Okay. Viking Mergers and Acquisitions navigates the complexities of selling a business in our area.
Yes.
So if you need or are looking to sell your business, please contact Viking Mergers and Acquisitions. And Mike and I are back together. We haven't been back together. We haven't been together in a couple months.
It's been a minute.
Couple recordings.
Yep, Yep. Just kind of doing life.
That's it.
And then sharing the spotlight. You can't just hold on to the spotlight as co-hosts of building business. You have to share it with your other folks. Like, how great was Amanda?
Oh, she was fabulous. We had such a great time. Yeah.
Right? You got to share the stardom.
And then you and Amanda are together for the last episode, which is awesome too.
Okay,
I wasn't able to make it. I was very upset, but
that's right.
Here I am today, so I'm back.
We're doing it.
All right, so Mike and I are back.
We got a special guest today, don't we?
I know we do. But before we get to our special guest, I do want to give a shout out to Mike. He is the co-founder and co-owner of Rumbo Advertising.
Mm-hmm.
Is also the current president of the American Marketing Association Charleston, correct?
We're probably launching this in June. It's May 21st. I give the reins out to Jake Cosmore in July.
Oh, in July. All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So did you have a good year?
I think so. I think we had a good spark, didn't we, Amanda? I think, we added value to some folks.
Yeah, that's great.
Worked well with the College of Charleston, which I want to talk to you about there.
Yeah, we're going to get to that for sure.
But thank you for asking.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And before I forget, my name is Kathy Herman. If you do not recognize my voice by now, I am the marketing director at Town Center. I am a past president of the Chamber of Commerce, and I'm the current chair of the Rise Women in Business Committee. And of course, Mike gets mad at me, so I always say, and of course, your favorite co-host of the podcast. And when I introduce myself, I always say, now I make sure I add in, I am the co-host of the Building Business Podcast. So anyway, I'm really excited about today because I've had the pleasure of meeting her before. And I'm kind of joking, but our guest is like pure magic. And I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
I wrote that down in the notes.
It is in her title. It is in her title. She was Wonderworks Toys head magic maker. I really think I need to go back to school to do that for 31 years. And recently sold her Mount Pleasant toy store location to and I love this, I'm going to cry, an employee that had been with her for 26 years. I mean, you want to talk about a transition, that's amazing. If you have not heard of Wonderworks, you're living under a rock. It has become an integral part of our community and the toy industry, receiving countless national and local awards. I have to say this, in 2025, our guest was inducted into the American Specialty Toy Retailers Association Hall of Fame.
What?
I know, I can't wait. Okay, now she's living her best life with family, 5 grandkids, apparently loves pickleball, gardening, and art classes. I love it, and she's here with us today. Everybody, please welcome the amazing magic maker, Christine Osborne.
And we're going to talk about how everybody can make magic.
Yes,
and
please.
I should have brought my magic dragonflies are in the car, and every single person here gets one.
You gave me one.
I want one.
Away and gift afterwards.
So
yes,
awesome.
I will go get them. And our sweet little intern sitting over there, she's going to remind me that everybody gets a
it balances on your finger.
A
Wait till you
dragonfly
see
toy?
it. We got them at the Rise, but
You're in the Toy Hall of Fame?
Isn't that insane?
It is. And Melissa and Doug. Melissa is a dear friend of mine. And so they called me and they said, well, we have one other person that's getting inducted. And I was like, will you tell me? And they said, it was kind of a secret, but she said the same thing. And I said, well, did you tell her? They said, yes. We kind of relented. I said, who is it? And they said, Melissa Bernstein from Melissa and Doug. And I'm like, oh my God, I love Melissa. Because the toy industry, and it's like any industry that you go into, magic just ends up happening. And you end up just meeting the neatest people, and they come to like your events. So we'd have events at the store, and literally we'd end up having blocking off a road, and there'd be 10,000 people coming, and we had the top 20 toy companies internationally and nationally.
Wow.
And Melissa and Doug always came, and they were great, and they were always helping us. Mattel came. So you end up being on their advisory boards. You help them out. You get feedback from the community, whenever they came up with new products, they would test stuff at El Extravaganza, the events that we would have.
Very cool.
And then they would take that back, and then they would develop some other products off of that. And so Charleston was very, very integral, and Charleston's very magical in getting involved and sharing feedback. So I'll be quiet. What's the next question?
We got to talk about Wonderworks because there might be some people.
Yeah.
Do you know about Wonderworks?
I don't. I do because I have 10-year-old boys, of course. So thank you, I guess. But I cannot get the vision out of my head of you've obviously watched Big. So are you like the Tom Hanks female version of that Tom Hanks character? Like
I end up having a lot of energy.
Yeah.
And I ended up.
You get to test the toys?
Yes, you do. You get to test the toys, and you're a kid. You're still a kid. There's still a kid in you. And that kid comes out, and the store just allowed me to keep doing it. It was fun. You just end up getting to play every day and talk to customers, and people are happy. And I used to work before. I'm an occupational therapist, and I'd worked with Down syndrome kids when I was for 10 summers at Camp Hope in Clemson, South Carolina. My parents are German, so they are like, you will get a job. And I was 10 years old. And I ended up working with Downies, and they're angels. And it was absolutely wonderful. And then I ended up becoming an occupational therapist, and my first job ended up the governor had frozen it, and it was with Downies at Ladson. And unfortunately, the governor froze it, and so the only job that was available was in psychiatry at MedU. And I ended up working there for 2 or 3 years, and then I started a psych head injury program and did all of that for Southern Pines Psychiatric Hospital and did OT for that. Then they did well. We did well. I helped them with marketing and all sorts, and they said, you're to move. We're selling you, and you're to move to Macon, Georgia. And I'm like, and so the administrator and I were good friends, and he had hired me way back when I started at the hospital, and he was out. He was the administrator, and I was marketing, and I'm like, I'm not going to move to Macon. My husband's from Charleston.
Okay.
So then we ended up, he called and said, I want to do a toy store. And I said, oh, my God, that's awesome. I said, I want to do science. He said, I'll do astronomy, and our spouses are like, y'all are so nerdy. And then I'm like, and so we added nature. Like the Nature Company was real popular way back when.
I remember this. I remember that store.
Yeah, and so that's how we ended up doing that. But everybody asks, as an entrepreneur, where'd you get the money? Where'd you?
That's
get the
a great
funding?
question,
Right.
Chris.
Like,
That's a great
where
question.
do you get the
Building
funding?
business.
Well, you pull whatever you got a little bit together, and then you go bank hopping. Well, I'm like, oh, this is easy. My husband's Charleston. His fraternity brothers are all, in bankers. Well, at that time, they were like, it's too nerdy. And that's not a good concept.
Oh.
That's just, and finally, and this is how, just the universe, you put out there what you really want.
100%.
And you put out this positive attitude, and you know it's going to happen. And so I went to the 5th banker, our last banker, and I walked in. And he looked at me, and his name was Frank Smith. His wife was my 6th grade teacher in Clemson. And he said, Christine Steeple. And I said, yes, sir, it's Christine Steeple Osborne. He goes, my wife, she still talks about you. She says you're going to do great things with whatever you do. I'm like, what? And he goes, no. He said, what are you doing?
The movie, right? Approved.
What are you doing? And he literally, I said, well, here's our business proposal. We want to start a science and nature store, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, and he pulled out his drawer, opened his drawer, pulled out a checkbook and said, okay, how much you need? I'm going to write you a check. And that's how Wonderworks started.
There you go.
And and his wife was one of my 6th grade teachers, and I was German. And in Clemson, I would wear Democlites and leather shoes and leather backpacks because my parents are German off the boat. And so you can imagine how that goes over with some friends who don't really know you very well. Yeah. And she was a sweet mentor and friend to me, and would let me do different things and tutor students and do her bulletin boards and all that instead of getting ridiculed and at recess or whatever. She was amazing. Aww. And for that to come full circle, And then we ended up starting, and then the business just grew and grew and grew.
That's
from
amazing.
that.
And tell everybody where Wonderworks is.
Yeah.
Wonderworks has a location we've been in Mount Pleasant for forever. Like, they're going on 36 years now.
Oh, way.
And I'm happy to announce that they are doubling the size of their location.
That's
I'm so
amazing.
proud of Schnooks and her crew. And Schnooks
It's an interesting name. You can't just throw that out there.
Elizabeth Royal Darby, and she has a magical crew. Many have worked there many, many years, and it is just amazing. But it is in the Bell Hall Shopping Center on Long Point Road. We started off at the base of the bridge, but with the construction, remember when that little tiny bridge was replaced, the Grace was replaced by the Ravenel? That took 4 years. And at that time, it was really tough because our entrances were kind of blocked off, and business was like, and then there was Long Point Road, and Bell Hall was starting up at the time. So we just happened to do a little store there. Then we've moved one time, and then now she's expanding that. And that expansion will be completed probably in the fall of this year. And Patrick Russell and the landlords, if you ever have a business, landlords are your best friends. Your accountants are your best friends. Your lawyers are your best friends. Your bankers are your best friends. I mean, you take to heart these folks because they will take care of you. And so,
Well, you're
sure
talking
enough,
to a landlord, so I get it.
and I mean, I give them Christmas presents every year, and I'm like, I don't miss a beat.
I'm going to call my company and go tell them to buy Bell Hall now because I want Christmas presents
There you
from
go.
Christine.
Well, Patrick Russell, he manages it, and they actually have a German count who owns American Asset Corporation. And he has just been so kind to Wonderworks. And when Schnooks, she had the vision. She kind of knew about a year ago, and she's been around the business. She started when she was 9. Her mom was a employee, and she was wonderful. And Schnooks would be dropped off with the school bus. And my business partner at the time, Dan Morrissey, he passed away, probably 14 years into the business from pancreatic cancer. But Schnooks ended up, she would come off the bus, and Dan would say, you got to do your homework. And I'd go, do you want to straighten Sanrio? And you can pick anything off that stand that you want, or safari animals, you could pick one of those. So she would hide from Dan and her mother, and she would just get that straightened up. And she worked with us, and she volunteered time. She worked with us all through grammar school, middle school, high school, college, after college. And then when my business partner passed, she and her best friend Amanda Birch were graduating from College of Charleston. They're like, what are we going to do? And I'm like, don't you worry. Don't you worry.
Oh, I got
You're
a job
right
for
here.
you. That's
yeah,
right.
I'm like, and so she literally, the Lord put her in my path, and Amanda ended up moving to Atlanta and working at Elf on the Shelf. She worked with those folks, and we helped Elf on the Shelf get started.
Come on.
And a lot of products, the companies, we help, and that's the goal. When you're in an industry, you have to help. If you don't help, who's going to help?
Right.
So if they come up with a good idea, and in your gut if it's a good idea. So we helped Tune with Rainbow Looms. We helped Squishmallows. I found him on a little tiny card table.
Dear Lord.
And I'm like, I looked at his product, and I'm like, oh my God, Andre, this is the best pillow hug I've ever felt. I'm like, we're going to blow you up. We're going to share you with everybody because everybody needs to carry this. And then they end up going later on into Costco and all those. And that's a compliment. That's flattery.
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
And then we're on to the next thing.
Nitos?
So
Are you behind Nitos?
Oh, we love the Shilling people. Nitos are great, and we've carried them for 30 years. Those guys came to Elf Extravaganza the whole time, Wonderfest the whole time. They are like partners in line with Wonderworks. So when their product that we've had for forever started blowing up, it's like, you need to make them in this style, this style, this style. We're very open in giving them feedback from Charlestonians.
Sure.
And the Low Country folks.
Okay.
Because y'all are the ones that come in there and give us ideas. And then we just are a conduit and pass it on. And we don't keep our mouth shut. And then we pass it on to the other toy stores in the nation. There were 6,000 of us that were small toy stores, like in 1990. There are like probably 1,300 now.
Really?
Which is really, those are mom and pop shops, and they're,
Well, that's good.
it's kind of sad. There's a chain called Learning Express, and Rick Durr is kind of the matriarch, a patriarch or whatever of that. And he and I talked a lot when I had the store, and we would just share, and we were part of a buying group, the toy collection group and all that and stuff, and so the Good Toy Group. But you do whatever you can do to keep the industry going, to share, and to keep people on a high and keep people kind and sharing, and that's just, that's how it goes.
Keep talking. This is great business, acumen here. This is great.
And your competitors, are not your competitors. Like one of my very favorite stories is Charlene Daniels from Holly Pops in Mount Pleasant, South Carolina. She's amazing. She does dolls like nobody else can. And she just has a vision for her store. And she was there before Wonderworks was. And I ended up meeting her. And then when my business partner actually was in the middle of passing, she called me and said, I just heard about this. And it was Christmas. She said, what do you need from me for help? She said, what can I do? I will run your register. I will empty your trash. I will do, and you don't forget things offers like that.
Of course not. You don't.
And then I'm like, so whenever they don't have a product, they refer people to Wonderworks. When Wonderworks doesn't have a product, let me tell you, go down the road to Holly Pops. Okay. Here's phone number. Call them right now. See if they got it.
I think that's just good business. It's a good business practice when you start going, fist to fist. It just
right
doesn't.
Yeah, when you start,
And everybody. Your passion is your passion. Charlene's passions are her passions. My passions were science and nature and functional things and all that. And you go into that store and you can see the occupational therapy, trend on it by all the little sections of construction and art and outdoor and developmental. And
that was my question I had there is, what did your occupational therapy decades of work teach you?
Oh, it's so much. The number one thing is I'm a giver. I'm a carer. I love to take care of people, and I love to give. And when there was a little girl who came in the store, and there's so many stories in stores, and local entrepreneurs have the best ones. And there was a little girl named Harper Drolet, and she was named mayor of Medical University, the Children's Hospital, before it was built. And her daddy, Jamie, Drolet, and his wonderful wife, and she has two sisters. And Harper had rhabdomyosarcoma, which is a tissue cell skin tumor cancer. And she was about yay high, which is up to my waist, kinda. And she was 10 years old, and she came and put her hands on her hips, and she spent most of her time at Medical University. And Mayor Riley dubbed her mayor of Children's Hospital, and she said, what are you doing to get toys? We need toys. And I'm like, I give you like maybe a couple hundred toys. She goes, we need thousands of toys. And at that point, they were developing the Happy Wheels cart. And every week, a cart goes around.
I know about that cart.
With books.
You know about that cart.
And with toys. Yeah. Well, when I worked at Medical University, that was my very, very first job. I ended up doing diversional therapy with pediatric oncology patients. And I ended up just donating my time and doing it because I was up in psych, but I ended up doing that. And I was like, God, these kids need some diversional therapy, like functional, really fun stuff. And so Harper came in there, and she said, I said, okay, let's do it. Let's do a market plan. Let's figure it out. And Pam Hartley from Momentum Marketing at that time was there, and she's like, there's a new thing, Facebook. So I told Harper, and she goes, well, let's see. And I said, okay, for every like you get on Facebook for Wonderworks, and we interviewed her, and she told her story, and she said, please like us. And Wonderworks is going to give you one toy for every like. And so I said, Harper, I'll do 7 days.
You didn't know about Facebook, did you?
10,000 toys later.
No way.
10,000 likes later.
Oh, my gosh.
And then she called me on the day after the date, and she goes, where are the toys? Where are the toys? And I said, okay. So all these vendors that I had worked with and manufacturers, I called them up, and I'm like, Shilling, okay. You got something that you can send me some toys? Like we're talking about 100, 200, 300, can you? And they did. Yeah, they all came through. Sure. They sent me toys. And then I remember Ray Greenberg was president of Medical University at that time. And he ended up coming through on a flight from Washington, D.C., and he said, and he came to see the toys, and we want to take a picture of Harper with the toys and receiving, because she couldn't really go and give them all those toys. And Ray Greenberg's secretary called and said, so we're going to just have to cancel today. She said, he's just really tight on time. And I said, oh, that's really sad. Harper's going to be sad. Then she called back. She goes, is this Harper Drolet? And I said, yes. Yes, ma'am. She goes, oh, he's going to be there.
Plenty of time.
He will be there late. He will be there. He ended up getting off the plane, driving straight to Wonderworks, sat with Harper for 3 hours, and just on the ground, cross-legged, talking to her. Amazing. Amazing. And those are the connections that you always remember, you know. And this child kept that cart going with 10,000 toys for years and years and years, and they still have that cart.
They do.
And I'm like, this is how one child can make a difference. One child.
That's a good story.
Ugh.
That's a great story. Personal story too. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were up there for a while. One of my kids had T-cell. He's in remission right now. So every Thursday.
Oh, bless
but
you.
No, bless you. You made that 2 years of hell better by that cart. The one little thing, that cart.
Well,
every week
we ended up doing a thing where, and also if you come in the store, or somebody comes in the store for him, we will tell them. And when he has to undergo his treatments or rehab, we will give you a little card, and it says you are allowed to come get a toy after every treatment, complimentary on Wonderworks.
So sweet.
And it's and that is, but that you see that. So going to the doctor turns to be a happy event.
Exactly. He
As
asked
if we,
to go. He
as
wanted
if we
to
need
go.
another reason to like Christine and to go shopping at Wonderworks.
Well,
every day.
people say why, and I'm
dear.
like, if you were in my spot, seriously, wouldn't you do that? You know, wouldn't you do that if you were in my spot?
I would.
Well, yeah. Thank you.
I would.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
What a great. I didn't wake up this morning. No one was going to hear that story today.
Isn't that amazing, though?
That's a cool story.
I
He's
know.
in remission.
Yeah. 4 years now. Yeah. Well, we have a cousin now, though. She's 3 months in remission. She
How
just
old
got
is
on.
he?
She's 13. She's 13.
And how old is he?
10. He was 6.
That is tough.
Yeah.
It is tough. And anything, Snooky, she just got a whole Nido drop from Schilling.
Okay.
Speaking of which, loaded them up in the van,
Yeah.
and she went and took a huge amount
Yep.
to Medical University and just gave it to the kids
Yeah.
at the hospital. I mean,
These
because the Children's Hospital, they need that. They're not going to go get a Nido, go wait in line, whatever, you know.
Those needles are so popular. I cannot
It's
believe
crazy.
how crazy.
And it's just going to be another. It's hacky sack next.
I see that. Yeah.
Hacky sack.
is making a comeback.
These kids
Yes.
are
I
hacky
played
sacking
at
last
college.
It's, let me tell you, we're going to
No,
have
yeah,
the
there was-
hipster
there was
jeans and all that
night.
next.
Queens hacky sacking at the swim meet last night. Yeah. I was like,
Really?
yeah, and they were good too. I'm like, what is this? The 70s here?
No, they must have had a parent my age that used to play it all the time.
Yeah.
In
I don't
college.
know. Well, it's making a comeback.
Well,
So-
all right.
so-
Well, speaking of toys, I am really curious. Like, if you could just share with us a little bit, like, what was your first toy, like your favorite toy that was sold, or like, I don't know, like, give us a toy story.
One of our very first item was Grow a Frog, where you
Grow a Frog?
Grow a Frog. You sent this little tiny box. It was Three Rivers Amphibian. I'm sure they're still in existence. And you sent off this certificate, and they send you back the frog, and the frogs grow. And you give them it's like food, and they're pellets, but it's kind of like a turtle pellet or something. Well, these things grow so big that they end up clapping their hands, and they were like big that we had to have, when Wonderworks, we tripled the size of it. And we ended up putting it, we were at where Jersey Mike's is, by the base of the bridge.
Right,
and then
right.
we moved 3 doors down. We had a huge tank with 3 or 4 of the frogs that had grown so big. And then we donated them.
What, real frogs?
Real frogs.
What?
Real frogs.
You sending people real frogs?
Well, you buy the kit, and then they send it to you. But the kit has the container and the food. And it's from Three Rivers Amphibian.
Oh, my God,
I do
that's
not
so
know if
funny.
they still exist.
Oh, that's kind of neat. All right.
Instead of going to a pet store, I guess you get this. You order a special frog.
It's like the butterfly kit. You know the butterfly kit?
Okay.
You send off, and you go see the chrysalis and everything grow, and the butterflies. And then you put sugar water on your arm, and they only live 3 weeks. But you put sugar water on their arms, then they light up on your arms. You take a lot of pictures, and then the child can go outside, and they can let the butterflies fly off their arm.
What do you
I
got?
want one of those now.
What do you got for bunnies?
They're there. They're there. Bunnies, I just, you got Douglas, you got Gans, you got all those great. Oh, Jellycat is really huge right now.
Jellycat.
Jellycat is a very, very soft thing. But Snooki, Wonderworks is located in 3 locations right now.
Okay.
It is at the city market, and that everything kind of has a story. Because to be in the city market, you have to grow up like in downtown Charleston during the Civil War or whatever.
Say, yeah, you have
And
generations.
it is the number 1 tourist destination in the U.S. for retail.
What?
The city market is it's enclosed and then it's open.
Yeah.
Well, the enclosed area has 40 stores. There were 20. They shut it down for a year and ended up pulling up the bluestone, revealing all the windows, and they added 20 more stores. Well, they called my friend. It was Lori Thompson from the city, and it's owned by the Land Preservation Trust,
Yeah,
and they want to
okay.
keep it all local. And so Lori called Mariana Hay at Krogan's. Well, Krogan's is the oldest retail establishment in Charleston, South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
It was dated back to 3 or 4 generations after the Civil War.
Okay.
Her great-great-great-grandfather was a engraver. And so they had that tiny jewel box location where he's always been. And they just recently, they're renovating that little spot, but they just recently moved down a little bit to another part of King Street and have a beautiful, beautiful area. Well, the way that I became good friends with Mariana was back to my Down syndrome days at Camp Hope. Her brother is Down syndrome, Georgie. God bless him. He's passed since then, but he was hilarious, wonderful, loving young man. And he was my favorite camper, and he would stay 2 weeks. And so the family would come at times and drop him off. And I met this girl, Mariana. Well, I was 10 years old, 11 years old, 12 years old, 13, working at Camp Hope. And Georgie was my favorite camper. So then you never think anything of it. I go to College Charleston for and then Medical University, and then I start my Wonderworks store, and then I get involved with Jamie Haley from Low Country Local First, who said, "You're not a mom and pop." And I'm like, explain that to me. And Warren Buffett had started the Low Country Local First movement in the nation, and there were 15 of them. Charleston was one of them. Jamie was the founder in Charleston, and she said every dollar you spend in local business makes free for the economy, but however, if it's a local business, it makes 6 for the economy, and the money stays in the local economy. So I'm like, oh, I understand that now. And then I ended up, she said, will you kind of help me with this 10% shift where we're trying to get all 3 mayors down there and have everybody, shift 10% of their monies locally? I said, absolutely, because I never say no. There's too much opportunity in life to really, if you say no, I mean, why are you going to do that? So I was like, okay, I'll do it. I've never done it. So she said, can you get 300 retailers down there? I'm like, okay, I'll figure it out. And then she said, I can give you one tip. There's a lady named Mariana Hay downtown on King Street at Krogan's at a jewelry store. So I go down there, and she opens the door, and she said, Christine, what are you doing here? It was another banker moment. And she said, what are you doing here? The last time I saw you, I was dropping Georgie, my brother, off at Camp Hope. I said, well, I'm here. I got Wonderworks, and I'm helping Jamie. She goes, well, I said, what do you here? She said, this is my family business. It's a jewelry store. I'm like, and after that, she's like, yep, I'm getting all my friends. And there were 300 people in that event, that press conference. All the mayors were there. It was absolutely wonderful. But it's like magic happens.
There we go. Back to magic.
Magic happens when you put yourself out there and you think positive and you do positive. And
now like Mariana, David Hay was on the head of the board for the College of Charleston, and I was with a student the other day, and we ended up, and he was all involved in NASA and all this sort of stuff, but he's now going to Chapel Hill for his master's. I'm so proud of him, Tyler Glimp, and he's just great. And I said I took him for breakfast, and I said, before you leave, you got to meet this person. And then I went in there. I went to Mariana. I said, this is one of our students from the College of Charleston. I said, and you got to tell David. And then we walked out. I said, David was the head of the board for College of Charleston. And he's like, really? He said, and I was like, yes, everybody knows everybody. And it really doesn't matter what they do. They're just a part of making your magic happen for you. and he was summa cum laude. And I said, are your parents and you coming over from my house for lunch? Because I've seen you every quarter or every month for 4 years. And he said, yes, I'm so excited. And then he texts me and he goes, my parents are in town today, and the president of College of Charleston, we have to go to his lunch. I was like, oh, really? I was like, oh.
Hey, that's not bad. That's not a bad person to be,
No.
to be shut down for, right?
Yeah.
But
She got the invite there.
I know.
Like, can I come? No, it's all these stories are just amazing. Just,
I know, I love
them. What, Kathy? What do you got over there?
Well, I got a lot, but
you have like
I can just hear Christine talk.
I know exactly.
But I'm always curious about a woman starting a business, and I know it was over 31 years ago. So, did you run into any roadblocks, or did you feel like anyone?
Well, it's interesting. I think a woman's perspective. When we ended up, when I started with Low Country Local first, there was a board, and there were women and men on it. But the women gravitated, and like we would go to Mary Anna's house on Broad Street and have coffee every month on a Monday or whatever. And we would plan events and plan things. And it's almost like local businesses, men and women. It's like, I don't want to use the word cult, but there's something connective with local businesses in the city. It's like you meet each other, you will do whatever you can to support each other.
Yeah.
You will host them, you will refer people to them, you just bond. It's that, and
That's a great way to do business, Christine.
You know what they're going through, and you're going to help them no matter what, even if it's one simple thing. And like the other day, I got a phone call, and I'm indebted to so many folks. I'm indebted to David Wyman at the College of Charleston. He's working with the entrepreneurs and the business school there, and I'm indebted to Medical University for those folks at Allied Health. I'm indebted to Jamie Haley. I mean, they all had a part of my history with all my stores, and so I tell, I got a phone call. Well, I was with my student, and I got a phone call and it says, will you check out this new place called Palmetto Row Collective? And the city of Charleston is doing it's kind of an alleyway with 4 local entrepreneurs. And it's something that Low Country Local First had always tried to get going. And so we ended up going. I had finished the breakfast, and then I'm like, Tyler, come on with me. Let's go find this place. And it was literally around the corner beside the Francis Marion garage. And I was at Kudu, which is a local business, having coffee. So I went in there and introduced him to Tyler. And then there was a purse store, an artist store, a sports person, and also a skincare person, all local. Amazing people. And there wasn't traffic going in. And so I just kind of and they said, just go do your magic, kind of go. And I'm like, okay, I'll volunteer. Don't pay me. I'll volunteer my time. I will help you. So I go down there, and I'm like, well, one, your sign is way up in the air. It said grand opening. Nobody's going to be walking down King Street and looking all the way up. And then I'm like, okay. So then we ended up, and I talked to this woman named Juliet who has these unbelievable purses. Her background's from Ghana. She has these unbelievable leather purses, and it's called House of Jewels. And it's like vibrant colors, and they're like banana leaves and leather. And it's just, the price points are unbelievable. And I was like, and her story was just amazing. And she's like, well, can you just help me with display? And so I gave her tips, and then she said, well, help my neighbor here and help my neighbor here. So I gave her tips on retail, because if you have a store that looks pretty, but you can't touch anything, then people are going to not buy. But if you have something that they can rifle through, walk in, or bump into on the way in, then they're going to, 30% of the people are going to buy something that they rifle through. That's
and
just
you just give all this information just because you love people?
It's the right thing to do. And then I go in the back, and I'm like, y'all, there was this barn door, and I'm like, what's behind here? They're like, we have extra things. And they said, oh, we had a little thing when the city celebrate, whatever. And I'm like, oh, there's this gorgeous, the artist did this thing, this Palmetto Row Collective is a painting. And it says Palmetto Row. I'm like, this is your sign.
Right. That's
Okay,
what
let's
should
go
be
back
it.
in the window. Let's redo the windows. Everybody put your stuff. People are going to look at the purses, look at the sports caps, look at the Charleston stuff, Charleston, whatever it was, and look at the skincare, and then put that picture right there. And then I said, you prop your door open a little bit because 10% of your business increases if you prop your door open. How do I know this? Because I've had a business for 31 years. You just know
Everybody
it.
take notes. Everybody just took notes on that, right?
Yeah.
So we ended up putting it there, and people started flooding into literally. So I saw her the other day, and when you meet celebrities and you meet people, like Julian Smith always taught me this, from the Cooper River Bridge Run. Julian, God bless him, he was wonderful.
Okay.
So he started the Cooper River Bridge Run.
Okay.
So, and he also worked at MedU in finance. And then he worked in giving, and so with Harper and all that. So Julian, but I knew him a long time ago with a neighbor. It was his best friend. So he always said, people are people. It doesn't matter who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And he always asked people, like Christine, he said, our kids run has like 3,000 people. I just went to your Wonderfest behind your store in West Ashley, and Snooki reopened West Ashley behind Santi. So she's got a store there now, which is the cutest thing. So he said, you have 5,000 people here. And Mayor Riley came around. I was holding my breath so that I wouldn't get caught on the permits or whatever. And he goes, how many people you have here? And I had all these children bands, children charities, the manufacturers. We were giving out hot dogs, all this stuff. Everything was free. Every child got a free toy. And it was just a great event called Wonderfest. So we ended up, Julian combined it with the Cooper River Kids Run. And then we ended up having like 8,000 kids coming. And that was how we ended up doing that. But the other day when I ended up, and the whole thing with the purse story is everything is so connected. I got a phone call from Valerie Bailey, Philip Bailey, Earth, Wind, and Fire, his wife. I met Philip. I was at the market working the store, and I had Christian Royal Pottery. He's a Down syndrome child. I carried his pottery in the store when I had to let go of telescopes because my business partner died, and he was the only one who knew telescopes. And I had a vacant spot, so I ended up doing local stuff. And a Down syndrome child came to my store with 300 pieces of pottery, and I ended up carrying them. So Philip, I was at the market, fast forward 5 years later, and he comes by. I didn't know who he was, and he had gorgeous dreads, and I'm like, God, man, I like your dreads. And he goes, tell me about this nonprofit. And I'm like, and he goes, I got one. I said, well, you tell me about your nonprofit. And he said, when kids age out, like from homes, foster homes, and they turn 18, they're literally asked to leave the home.
Yeah, they're on their own.
And they're on their own. And he said, so I've developed a place in Pasadena, California. And he said, it's a home, and they come to my home, and we teach them a trade.
That's great.
And he told me that like 10 years ago. Well, Valerie called me the other day, and I'd just seen Juliet with the purses and helped all of them. And I ended up, so I went to breakfast with her, and I said, and she shared with me that she has a school bus now. And she used to sing back up for Shaka Khan, and she has a gorgeous voice, and she has this new song, and it's amazing. She sang with Celine and Whitney and all those people, and she's so amazing. So she was telling me about her nonprofit. She's telling me Philip still has his nonprofit. And then she said, you are going to come hear us tonight. And I said, okay. And she said, I'll leave a ticket or so, So I went and I said, and I told her, I said, I know you kind of like to shop. There's one shop you have to go to. I told her this at breakfast. And she said, what is it? I said, Juliet House of Jewels. The purses are unbelievable. And then the artwork across is unbelievable.
So they went shopping.
So I said, but they're closed. They're closed on Tuesdays. And it was Tuesday. She goes, I went yesterday. She found her. And so when I went to the concert, and we're at the Performing Arts Center, and I go in there, and there's Juliet just sitting there. And I'm like, oh my gosh. The world is so small. These local folks just and I can see, I need to call Darcy Shanklin from Charleston Mag and say, you need to go see these purses. It's unbelievable. And the artwork, it's just, these local folks, you love it.
That's what Charleston's all about.
But now that kind of wraps into what Mike and I were wanted to discuss with you about your post Wonderworks is your work as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Entrepreneurial
At
leader.
the College of Charleston. No, what was
College
it?
of
Hold on.
Charleston.
It's really cool. I'd like
okay.
this as well. I want to be, just like you are, entrepreneur in residence for College of
okay.
Charleston is the official title.
Well,
which is cool.
So what he did was David Wyman. My husband, God, I love him to death. He is a totally opposite of me.
Shout out, husband.
We've been married 46 years. I met him at the College of Charleston.
Of course.
He was a senior. I was a freshman. We have 2 wonderful children and 2 wonderful, beautiful daughter-in-laws. They're just beautiful inside and out. And then 3 wild and 2 calmer grandkids, but they get it honestly. And so we ended up, the college, my husband says, have you seen this gentleman? Have you met him? And it was in one of the magazines, and it was a double-page spread on David, and he's like invented, involved in Super Soaker and games and all this stuff. And I said, no, but I will. I said, I got to reach out to him. So I ended up reaching out to him, and he was at the college. And this was, 16 years ago or something. I reached out to him, and somehow we never connected fully. And then Chris Awatri of Dynepic, who is a brilliant woman, she has a business, a lot of, she's now in Belize, she's pivoting her business, but she still has Dynepic, and she's like XR guru. So she's taken it to a whole nother level because the defense system doesn't have a lot of cyber contracts out there right now. So she's kind of pivoting a little bit. And she had a board meeting, and she said, and one of my mistakes, when you have a business, you make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
I made numerous mistakes. But the best thing about mistakes is you celebrate them. Mm-hmm. You celebrate every time because you will never do it again. Mm-hmm. So the best thing about Snooki buying my business, and she's been with my business for 26 years, she's seen and lived through every mistake I've made. Mm-hmm. So she knows how I got in those situations and what I did to get out of it.
And she knows how to avoid
and
them.
how painful.
Right.
Yeah. So we ended up, and David ended up, the way I ended up meeting him was I had a warehouse. That was one of my mistakes. But I said, you can use my little boardroom. And there were all these local entrepreneurs, and she was getting funding, and not entrepreneurs, they were all venture capitalist people and all that with monies, and she was doing her pitch to him and everything. And then there was one man sitting beside me, and we went around the table, and I said, I'm Christine Osborne, I'm providing the location, and I have, a podunk toy store owner. And then I looked, and David looked at me, and he goes, I'm David Wyman. And I said, you're the guy I've been trying to reach? And he said, yeah, nice to meet you. So I grabbed him and put him on my board of advisors for Wonderworks.
Sure.
And I had so many brilliant people. The CEO, ex-CEO of Fisher-Price, Byron was there. He was on it because Charleston has a plethora of amazing folks who have retired here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And Mary Propes, who had CV, whatever her company was, across the highway here on Clements Ferry, she was on the board too. Just, it was amazing, amazing people. So I ended up, David, I would go do talks for him for his classes, and I still do. And he has entrepreneurs, and now they have an entrepreneur major.
Yeah.
At the College of Charleston.
Unbelievable.
And it is unbelievable. And David, I'm so proud of them for having that BS in entrepreneurship. And the students, the senior students, already have 2 companies each that they've started and are active. Yeah. And I'm just like looking at them, and I go see some of this. But David, the day I retired, after I sold Snooki the business, she ended up. I ended up, he called and he said, within 24 hours, he said, let's go to lunch. And I'm like, okay. And so
he's like, I'm not letting this one get away.
I went to lunch.
And I'm allowed to retire.
And I would do anything for him because he was so helpful to my business with his suggestions. for a board of advisors. And if people don't know how a board of advisors works,
Right.
it's like they don't really have any say-so except that they're extremely wise and you listen to everything they tell you.
Well, you've done this from the bottom up, Christine. So the advice that and the knowledge that you have to share with these students is just invaluable. I mean, you should have your own class. You should have a Christine Osborne degree, and.
But but the board of advisors, if anybody has a business, get a board of advisors, and just have people tell them it's one meeting a year, and it's like 2 hours long, and just host them, and then the advice that they give you, and then when you sell the business, give them a little bit monetarily off of that and do a little contract with them, and it's well worth it. It is so well worth it.
Oh yeah.
So David said to me, he took me to lunch and he goes, "Would you be the first woman entrepreneur in residence?" And I'm like,
yes.
You had to say that word. I was like, and then I'm like, but I'm like, honestly, David, I would do anything for you. Yeah. So whatever. And he said, just meet with students and who don't want to talk to their professors and they don't want to talk to their parents. And they're like, and they do. They call me and I go talk to the classes, at different times. And they'll say, I don't know what I want to do.
Right.
Mom and Dad have spent all this money. If I tell them that I don't know what I want to do, they're just going to go ballistic. They're like, so help me figure out a path. And we go literally, I just listen to them. I ask them questions and they figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's just a sounding
That's like
board.
a good point.
Well, you're asking
it's
the right
almost like
questions.
good therapy.
Well, she's an occupational therapist.
See, it all wraps in. It all wraps in.
We got two College of Charleston students in the Harbor Entrepreneur Accelerator right now, and they're about to pitch at Dig South, which is coming up on June 11th. At the College of Charleston. Yeah.
And Elaine did Mealy, which is and I remember judging something, and someone said to me, we were at the College of Charleston, and I was judging something, Impact X program or something, and somebody said to me, well, she's starting a social platform, like Facebook or whatever, and they're like, you can't do that. I'm like, if she doesn't do it, who's going to do it? I said, absolutely.
Do it.
And
might
so
as well be her.
she literally, what she does is she has a platform that's all about positivity. You cannot post anything really negative. And it's about, it's storytelling. So like you would go and they would interview your grandmother, and she would give you wisdom and life lessons, something that was important to her. And then they would post it on there, or students with their experiences, how they got through things, and they would post it on it. And it's MEELI. So it's a platform that's getting ready to get started.
That's so awesome.
And the College of Charleston is doing it with every new freshman starting this year's class coming in.
That's really cool.
Wow.
So,
are you ever going to retire?
I am retired.
Oh,
she's retired. She's doing what she wants. Leave her alone. She's happy.
I know. Well, between the school and the grandchildren, I mean, that's all I want.
They call me Yaya.
Yeah, there's no slowing this woman down. I just met you. I can tell that. Debbie Antonelli. Does that name sound familiar? Give me vibes, the Debbie vibes too, right? Entrepreneur, grower, entrepreneur, business woman, and her kid has Down syndrome as well. And she does this really cool basketball thing, and I know you've probably heard this in the press.
I love this.
She shoots hoops. She's a basketball player from North Carolina, and she's a TV analyst, is a sports analyst, right? And she does this. She raises $1 million shooting
over $1 million, yeah.
Over $1 million shooting free throws.
I love
this.
For the Special Olympics. We got to introduce you to.
And now it's at the gym. It used to be in her driveway.
In her driveway.
Now it's a gym that is named after her.
She's got a gym named after her too.
Yes,
by
she
the way.
does.
Do you have a gym? Oh, we have new goals.
I know.
Christine Osborne Gym.
No,
the Christine Osborne Accelerator. Ooh.
No.
Yeah.
Mayor gave me my Christine Osborne Day.
Oh, you have a day.
Yes,
there it is.
and Mayor Hallman, they gave me one. And I'm like, y'all, come on.
Come on. When's the day?
Yeah, when's the day?
One of them was my birthday, May 16th.
May 16th.
And I don't know if it was just for that year or whatever. And then Riley did it the day of when we did Cooper River Bridge Run Kids Run one year. And he just, God bless him. He has such a legacy in town.
Yeah.
Such a legacy
I've never met
in
him,
town.
so I've heard a lot about him, though.
Oh, Very, very wise man. Very wise man.
Christine has 2 days named after her.
It's
amazing.
But magic happens.
So humble. You are so humble.
humble.
Magic happens. Though.
I know it's all about
Say
magic.
yes.
I can't wait for y'all to get dragonflies.
I know I can't.
Yeah.
Wait. We're
We
gonna
should
throw out some
probably-
fun questions.
Yes, here we
for
go.
You, okay.
Yep.
I'm curious
We could
about-
talk forever, but
I know.
we have to.
But unfortunately, we have to let everybody get back to work.
Yeah. It's so much fun.
It's way too much fun. What's one toy from the past you wish you would make a comeback?
Would come back.
Yeah.
The hula hoop major. Major.
Well,
And
tried to.
sorry, it ties with two. One is the thing that you put around your leg, the
With the
skip
lemon?
boo.
Oh my God,
and
that
then
was my
you
favorite
jump,
toy.
and you jump,
Yes, that
and
was
you
my
jump,
favorite
and you
toy.
jump, and you jump. So anything with swirling, jumping, gross motor skills, I love it. So I love that. But I would have to take that back. The hula hoop is kind of still there, but the skip boo you can't really
You can't
find.
get anywhere. Mine had a lemon on the end.
Mine had some
Okay.
ball,
I
and then
had
you
a-
had
I
to
had
be
a
out of
lemon.
the way so you
Oh,
weren't
yes,
hit by
yeah.
it. I loved that.
Me too.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. You don't remember that?
No.
No.
You know.
Christine and I had the best toys growing up. What was one toy that every kid begged their parents for, but the parents did not want to buy it because it would drive them crazy?
You know, there's so many there's so many squishy things right now. So currently it's the squishy thing. But there are these toys that come on the market every so often, and like Snooki had it this past Christmas. It's a chicken with the neck thing, and you pull it and it squawks, and the squawking is like the most obnoxious squawking thing you've ever heard. But it's but there are toys like that she'll come and or be a moo cow or something or
That makes noise.
And you know the ones that sound like when you sit down and you whatever,
Right,
know, those type
whoopee
of toys,
cushion.
the whoopee
Is that what you're
cushions,
saying?
all
Yeah.
that,
That's
or
what I
all
think
that.
is
Well, listen,
all those type of things.
I remember,
but it's hilarious. I laugh.
I remember when one of my nieces was born, and I was younger. My brothers are a little bit older than me, and I was mad at my sister-in-law. So for like her first or second birthday, I bought her the loudest fire engine I could possibly find in the toy
It's
store.
just rude.
And she knew, but she knew. She looked at me. She goes, "Thanks."
Yeah.
And they do, folks come into the store, and that's what they say. It's the aunts and the uncles, and they're like,
It's 'cause we're the best.
It's like for their brother or their sister, and it's not for their brother or sister's child. It is for the brother or sister, and they're like, "What is the most obnoxious, loudest thing that you have in here?"
My.
And they
Yeah, we all
do
do
it
it.
like drums.
I did
I'm
it.
like,
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, it was a
That's
good
so
time.
funny.
I felt great when I did
you
that.
just feel that sibling thing
Oh yeah.
coming back.
Oh yeah. For
Yeah.
sure.
That's awesome. Have you ever seen like a children's meltdowns in the store going,
Oh,
I need
okay.
this, I need
Imagine.
this.
So there are two quick stories. One, there was a child, and so children don't want to leave, they cry, whatever. And I'm like, and I learned very quickly to go, okay, y'all. I'd go up to them, I'd go, okay, listen, if you go now, you get to come back. Come on, let's go. If you leave now, you get to come back. And it tricks their brain, and they are like, what? I get to come back?
Yeah.
They don't really think about it. So I go out with their parent, and I'll walk out there with them, and I'm like, here's a sticker from Wonderworks or whatever. But like they'll go. But there was one child I'll never forget that went out there, was having the meltdown, and did a Spider-Man pose on the door. Put one hand here, one foot there, and the mother had the door open and was trying to get the child in, and it was like a Spider-Man. Like I was like, I looked, I'm like, she goes, don't talk to me. She goes, he does this all the time. I don't know what. And I'm like, I had
love
never
it.
seen that.
Wow.
He didn't
I
wanna
had
go.
never seen that.
No. Look what you did, Christine.
And then I did have if you have a product and like at Christmas time, and like particularly like I'll never forget this woman. It was a West Ashley, and West Ashley was so magical. There were churches all around us. I loved it. It just magic happened. And like when I ended up doing the local section, John Gant from the Charleston Hooker, and he was walking down the sidewalk, and he said to me, I said, what you got there? And he goes, a Charleston Hooker. I said, ooh, I want one. And it was solid cherry, solid brass with a curly Q. And he had invented it. So when we did the local section with Christian Royal and all his pottery, John Gant, we helped develop the butt grabber. He had a great sense of humor. He was in his 80s.
You just said butt grabber.
Butt grabber.
Okay.
And it was It was
I
a
got one of those already,
solid,
by the way.
a solid cherry, and then 2 brassings so that it keeps your Boston butts off the cold ground.
Oh.
So you would go like this and turn it on the grill. And the Charleston hooker was a grilling tool, and it's still the #1 grilling tool. And so John Gant's apprentice, Julie Cube, still makes those. And you flip, hot dogs, chicken, steaks, whatever, and it doesn't burn you. Then he had a shrimp zipper, to peel shrimp. And he was an amazing person. I never knew what he really did for a living till I went to his place, and I looked in the trash can, and he was behind Bazzelli's Heating and Air. And I looked in his trash can, and there are these lantern sketches. And I fished them out, and I'm like, these look really kind of fancy. And he said, yeah. He said, I just sold my business to Urban Electric. And I'm like, what did you do? He said, I made lanterns. He made 80% of the lanterns in downtown Charleston.
Oh, my goodness.
Gas lanterns. And he made all the lanterns at the White House.
What?
Yes, this
Well,
was
that's
John
cool.
Gant. So then
The name sounds really familiar.
his name, and I said to John, and he married Lisa Rivers from Rivers Communication, all that, it was Channel 5. So he ended up, and I had met Lisa, and then John was just like my mentor. When my business partner passed, he kind of took me under the wing, and he was very, very kind. And then one day I looked at him and I said, John, you've lost weight. And he said, you're rude. And I said, I love you. And I said, I really do. He took such good care of me. And we had his products were selling all this. And it was just a pastime of his, making all this stuff. And then I said, well, you're losing weight. And he goes, okay. I said, promise me if you lose any more weight, you'll get checked. And it turned out that he called me about, I don't know, a week later, and he said, I have liver cancer. And then I'm like, well, can I go visit you? And where do you live? Because he wasn't, he goes, I have to rest. And he goes, I'm on the Battery. I'm like, you live on the Battery? And he said, yeah. And it turned out that I was a little German girl, had a bike, College of Charleston. Every Sunday I would ride around the Battery. There was a house I really loved. And he told me he said, you just want to see my house. I said, no, I really want to see you. I really care about you. I want to see you. Yeah. So I go there, and it's where my husband proposed to me.
Stop it.
And he goes, do you want me to make you a brass plaque, Christine, and put that right out there? And I'm like, but I love the Gant family, and
That's
they were
so
Shay
funny.
and all of them. They're great. John.
Is there anybody you don't know?
Right.
No, you meet people.
Yeah.
Well, you just met Mike today for the first time, right? So,
That's right.
but now
And
she's never
it's
going to
like-
forget you, Mike.
No, I know.
Everything's,
We're in. I
everything's
hope.
intertwined.
I'm a little
It
nervous.
really is.
Actually.
Everything's intertwined.
All right,
I'm
so
also German. I have an Oma and a Grossmutter and all that. Yeah.
I married a German. I'm
Kannst
a
du
Herman.
Deutsch sprechen ein bisschen?
A
bisschen?
Jawohl.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
speak German?
No. Nein.
We had to speak German at home
Uh-huh.
till we graduated from college, and I had to pay a nickel for every American word, unless I had friends at home. So I was very social.
That'll do it.
I'm very social.
So you're very social.
No,
Come on
I
over
don't
so I
think
don't have to pay
Social's
money.
not the word I'd use for you. All right, I got one more for you. After 31 years, what legacy do you hope that Wonderworks Toy leaves in our community?
God, nobody's ever asked me that. The Wonderworks leaves you in independent toy stores. They all leave you when you go in and when you go out. Your troubles are gone. You go in and you may have a trouble, but when you're walking out, there's that smile in your heart. There's a smile on your face. And for that brief moment, you are a child. And whoever you're buying for, you get that warm feeling. And it's a literal serotonin, endorphin type of feeling, and it's in your body, but it's also in your heart. And so that's the sense that store and those independent toy stores in the United States, and they do, everybody who goes in, they leave happy. And it's just that great feeling in your heart. And people don't really fully understand, like Mount Pleasant was so tiny. To have the Chamber of Commerce now doing what they're doing, having unbelievable people in the positions that the town has. I ran into Lee Cave from the city the other day, and I saw him at the grocery store, and he doesn't work there anymore. He was in charge of permitting. If ever I had a problem with the store expanding or opening, I'd call Lee. Now there's a whole system, but they cover everything, and they are so thorough, and they're so good. And the policemen come to the events just to drive by, get out of their car, say hi to everybody, and participate. You know, it's still a town. And it's still that feeling that you get, and I love that. So, two things. One is that you keep that feeling of magic, and you keep that warm-hearted feeling. And the other is like the town of Mount Pleasant. You get that feeling. City of Charleston, you get that feeling. West Ashley, you get that feeling. The city market, it is a whole family down there of vendors.
Right.
You get that feeling when you're among them. And that is people say Charleston's so special. And I'm like, y'all, it is. It is like the unconditional love that you feel from people. And you're walking down the sidewalk and people are looking at you and they are smiling. And tourists just are like, wow, is this for real? And it is for real. And people go, well, don't do that so much because too many people are going to move here. But I'm like, it's okay.
Too late.
Mount Pleasant is growing. Charleston's growing. You're not going to stop that growth, but just embrace it.
You have to embrace it.
And stay true to yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want everyone listening to this podcast, when you are planning to purchase some kind of toy or special gift for someone you love, please go to Wonderworks. You will never imagine the experience. I understand we have a lot of big box opportunities and locations around here, but you're not going to get the service. You're not going to get the products like you will at Wonderworks. So, please keep them in mind when you're shopping for your next gift.
You.
It's very special.
Stop in and visit Snooky.
Snooky.
Are we
and
allowed
her
to call
team.
her Snooky?
I don't think we are. allowed
You
to
call her
I-
Snooky. Her brother and sister
Snooki?
did that nickname when she was little.
And it's stuck,
and
huh?
it's stuck, and she is.
How can you not wanna
pretty
go buy a
amazing.
toy?
She's like my daughter.
From someone
so.
named Snooky. I mean, come on. That's absolutely perfect. Christine, thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for spending
Christine.
today with
Y'all
us
are wonderful.
Very
and
blessed.
for sharing those incredible stories. I mean,
Thanks.
and again, I need to go out with you one night.
Let's go grab some wine.
I gotta see who
I'm
you
all
run,
for that.
I have
Yeah.
to see who you run into when we go out to dinner.
Exactly.
You know?
Just being adjacent from.
Yeah, no, it's
Christine
going to be
is perfect.
awesome. Thank you again so much. And of course, Mike, love having you as my co-host.
Good time.
Before we leave, we want to thank our friends at our sponsor, Viking Mergers and Acquisitions. We're so excited to have them as our sponsor, and our friends here, of course, at Charleston Media Solutions, a great partner with us. If you're interested in sponsoring or being a guest on our show, please reach out and we'll get back to you. Make sure to like and subscribe to all of our media channels. We are on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.
That's right.
All those people are going to hear you,
it.
Christine. Can't wait. Thank you so much for being with us today. Until next time, Mount Pleasant. Until next time, listeners.